What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala,
But
your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
good old humor.
Terrence, your butt just now threw me off now. What the hell was that, man?
Keeping you on your toes, man.
Keeping me on my toes. It did. For a moment there, I was like, oh shit, what the hell do I say? But yes, this is a midweek podcast.
Yeah.
We had a guest earlier in this week, and that
Yeah.
podcast will be coming out this weekend.
Next week. Next Monday.
Next Monday.
Yeah.
I guess we can say who the guest is.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
our one and only first silver medalist in the 10,000 meters at the SEA Games in 40 years. What's his name?
So Ruyong.
Yeah.
We spoke to him a few weeks prior to the SEA Games. Now he's back with a silver medal from the SEA Games, silver medals from the Taiwan Open. And yeah, I mean, it was a fun podcast. Podcast.
Yeah.
It'll come out on Monday.
Yeah. That's right.
But yeah, it was a rainy Thursday today. We got some interesting topics. But how's your week been, man, Terrence?
It's okay. I think the rain has been very welcome because it's been crazy hot last few days again. But yeah, good, man. Good. The rain is good.
Yeah, the rain is good. I mean, it's refreshing lah. And I think this morning when I was about to go for my uncle walk, I checked the app and I think the whole of Singapore was raining. Was it was raining where you were?
It was raining where I was, yeah. Finally, we're all united under the same cloud once again.
Is it? Depends what you mean by cloud, huh?
Oh, yeah, depends.
Yeah, it depends.
But yeah, other than that, been news-wise, like other, a bit quieter after a big banging start to the week.
Even the big banging start, if you think about it, was it really big and banging?
What, Halima announcing that she's not running again?
Yeah. I mean, it's okay lah. It's not like in the previous weeks, when we have like the ride out stuff and all.
Yeah.
So it's a teaser to big banging stuff that is coming.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of. Yeah, I mean, you win some, you lose some.
You win
right?
some, you lose some. Yeah. But we still have 2 topics today.
Yeah.
We're still going to talk about some shit.
And they will affect you in your day-to-day life. Still,
One of them.
Yeah,
one of them.
Yeah.
But before that, what is it you like to say, Terrence?
I think, as always, if this podcast has touched you anyway, please do leave a review on wherever you listen to it. And if you want to find a new way to check us out, also go on YouTube and just subscribe because we're now uploading our entire video podcast onto YouTube as well. And it's quite interesting. Very different community there, very different audience there.
Yeah.
And the conversations there are a bit different from what we're used to.
And just to clarify, it's like actual videos we're taking. Is previously we have uploaded onto YouTube the full podcast, but that's just like an image, like a static image. This is actual videos of Terrence and I looking face to face in our office.
Yeah.
So it's a new dawn for Yalla Butt.
New dawn.
But speaking of new dawns, there was also some news that came out yesterday, 31st May 2023.
Yeah.
Which I'm confused because it's new news, but it sounds like old news. But basically, the news is that from 1st June 2023, enforcement officers will now be asking for particulars of diners who don't return used trays and crockery.
That's right.
So, I mean, I'm kind of lost in this whole thing, and I forgot that it's been 2 years, since there was the first rules that protect against people leaving trays randomly. But what made you want to talk about this? Aside from the fact that we don't have another Halima banging topic.
No, like I said, this will affect people day to day. In the sense of, Big Brother now is officially watching. They were watching for a while already.
They've been watching for damn long.
They've been watching for a while, but now Big Brother can come and ask you for your particulars.
So that is the change, is it?
I think, it sounds like they're going to enforce getting your particulars and also send you a warning letter if you're a first-time offender.
But last time, if you offend and you have a warning letter, they will ask for particulars also, right?
I think so that's the thing. If you watch all those, I think there were a couple of, there was a CNA documentary about it. There were, mothership videos about it, about the returning
when it first
of trays.
came out.
I think about a year ago, when they were assessing how successful the whole campaign is, right? About a year ago, you would see that enforcement officers who were going round table to table, they were taking great pains to explain to people and to tell them that they need to return the trays. And I think I think just paraphrasing one of them, they said that there actually were no cases where they were trying to tell people to return the trays, and those people didn't return lah. So there was almost very little need to take down particulars and then and take enforcement actions. But since then, it's been a whole year since. Maybe now people have come out of the woodwork. The jerks of society have come out and really shown the ugly faces where they're like, oh fuck, now we got to take down the particulars for real.
Because the assholes have been holding out. They're like, you know what?
Yeah.
Next 1 year, I'm gonna be this good boy, return my trays. After 1 year, I'm gonna just fucking show my true colors.
Yeah. Maybe because they thought that, what's the worst that could happen? Someone just comes to tell me to return my tray, that's it,
Yeah.
But now people are saying that they have much more authority to actually issue warning letters.
But
and
previously also got.
They had the authority, but I think there was a grace period aspect to it, lah. Like they were giving people a chance to get used to the rules and used to the presence of these people watching them. That's why I get from it, lah.
Yeah, that's what I also gather somewhat, because the first time it started, the NEA, the National Environment Agency, and the Singapore Food Agency started enforcing shit was 1st September 2021 at hawker centers. Then 1st January 2022, it extended to coffee shops and food courts. And then NEA did back up the stats of progress. The average tray and crockery return rate, known as the TCRR, at hawker centers has since increased to 91% currently, from 65% in August 2021. So basically, the month before these things started getting enforced, it was 65%. Now 91%, no.
Yeah.
And then the coffee shops and food courts also maintain their TCRR at 90%. So, next time before you choose where to eat, you should ask your friends, what's the TCRR of this hawker center?
There's an app you
it's
pull
sub 90, is it? Fuck this place. I'm not eating here, okay? So basically, NEA did put out a statement, and yeah, like to ensure that the good efforts of the majority who return their used trays and crockery are not marred by the inconsiderate behavior of the minority. So basically the 10%. lah.
Yeah.
Last time the vaccination rate, what was the holdout percentage?
Oh, I don't know, 5% or something, maybe?
So there's always this 5 to 10%. They're like, you know what? I don't conform, man.
Yeah.
I just do my own shit.
But I mean, anecdotally for yourself, how has it been when you go to places and you... have you seen people returning the trays more often than not, or what?
I wouldn't say I've seen people return trays more often than not, but every time I go to return the tray, like, it looks full, and I don't think it's the fault of the cleaners.
Yeah.
So I would assume that if I really had to say, I think a good amount of people are returning trays. I don't know how it was back in 2021 or 2020.
Yeah.
Like for you?
Yeah, I think like most places I go now, by default, I sort of think about returning the trays, even like cafes or restaurants and things like that. So even just for myself, because there's such a clear enforcement action that you could be penalized, right? I just default to, okay, we got to return the trays and everything.
So that works on you, lah.
It works on me, although I've been doing it myself already, right? But I think now it's just, there's the double disincentive. There's an added disincentive.
Also, it registers in your head like, oh,
it does, yeah.
And
it's not a bad behavior to cultivate, a bad habit to cultivate. So why not, man?
But then the question is, why are you doing it? Why are people doing it? Is it for fear of being fined, or for just the belief that, you're already paying cheap, like subsidized prices of a meal? Just do your part, lah.
So
are we cultivating the right thing or not, Terence?
Sometimes you could argue that like habits, just form the habit first and think about the philosophy of it later, right?
Spoken like a true parent.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's like Pavlovian conditioning. Right? You kind of get people to do certain actions that are better for society first. And because of enforcement and because of all
they
these...
get used to it. La.
Yeah, negative incentives.
But then when you go to places like McDonald's, do you return your tray?
Yeah, I do. What, you don't?
I do.
Then?
I do. Don't just assume. No, because I'm wondering whether people also see it differently. Because you say the behavior, right? Is it, if you're not in aircon, then your Pavlovian thing kicks in, return.
Yeah.
Even though food courts are air conditioned also,
Yeah.
right? But I wonder whether people's behavior, if there's a study, what is the TCRR at McDonald's, right, versus hawker centers? Because McDonald's and places like that, I think there's almost this subconscious thing like, okay, you're paying a bit more than you do at hawker centers, people will clean up for me.
Well,
like Starbucks.
mm,
You know, Starbucks is one of those places that I've always like. I think because they don't have like cleaners per se, it's always people behind the counter coming to wipe the table, right?
yeah.
So there are always tables that are like full of shit, lah.
Yeah. No, and they don't do a good job of indicating where to return items.
They don't.
There's a lot of I think a lot of joints are sort of stuck in the middle where they kind of hope they return the tray, but they
don't know
never
what- yeah.
invested, in setting up a tray return point. And so that's why it gets confusing for diners.
Yeah.
And I think all outlets should encourage it as much as possible.
But then, don't you think? Okay, so like that day, I went to Shake Shack for the first time, and I think they do have a tray return station. And I
They
won't
do.
deny, I felt like I paid so much for a fucking burger.
Yeah.
Why am I returning my tray?
And then
I still did, lah.
you still did.
But then that moment where I was like, wait, why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling this? So when you say all joints should encourage it, I think as a behavior, as a habit, is a good thing in general.
Yeah.
But when there's that disconnect, right? Like, I mean, Shake Shack burgers are not cheap, lah, right?
Yeah.
Then how do you square that off for you? Or for you, like, the moment this is not the food I cook, I will return the tray.
I think for me it's just a matter of I kind of think about the turnover of the place also, right? If it's very crowded and there are people who are going to be using a table immediately and all that, it would speed things up, right? If you return your tray versus like having to, there can still be a cleaner coming to clean it up, but it's going to take longer if you leave your shit lying around. And you just put yourself in the shoes of the next person coming in. If you're like rushing through lunch and things like that, do you want to have to wait for someone to pick
So
up
you're
the
being
tray
a
after you?
gracious citizen, lah.
Of course, yeah.
Hey, shut up, lah.
That's
Okay,
like the
Terrence.
basic to
No, but
begin
it
with.
doesn't occur to you that you're paying like a premium for the meal compared to like a burger elsewhere.
But it's still fast food, right? It's still fast food, ultimately.
True, lah.
Yeah.
You mean not even like a smidgen or like a small part of Terrence in your head just goes, this feels a bit weird.
No, it doesn't strike me as weird at all. I mean, it's like, why not? Why not just, it doesn't kill you to return the trailer, right?
No, I'm just wondering because I'm
Yeah.
sure there I can't be the only one who has a bit of like, should I do this? Do I need to do this? And I mean, I eventually did it, but I won't deny I had that moment where I was like, okay, where do you draw the line? Like at a restaurant, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right?
But you could argue that at a restaurant, because they have to set the table and they have to, put back cutlery on the table and things like that for other diners to use. So there's a certain way they need to clean the table, a certain standard that they're trying to make. But a very more communal dining areas, like where McDonald's or hawker
You find your
centers,
own seat kind of
it
thing.
doesn't matter, right? As long as it's just clear, someone can sit there. It doesn't even need to be perfectly clean. Someone can sit there. So actually, it's more of a relationship between yourself and the next diner rather than yourself in the restaurant.
So basically, anytime you need to wait to be seated, that's when there's no expectation that you clean. If you
I guess,
find your own seat, then
yeah.
So that is the line. That is the line.
Yeah, and if they have service staff going around, like, taking your orders and things like that, right? I think it's it's more natural that they should clear it and to maintain their own standards.
Yeah. I just found it funny because when we were doing research also, there were some articles that had a similar headline, but it was dated like April.
Yeah.
So I was trying to understand what is the escalation like, and it feels like what you said like last time was just grace period almost, whereas now you can imagine, the scenes like in action movies when the police station, everyone takes the guns to go out for mission.
Yeah.
Now all the, what are they called? Not SDAs, right? Enforcement
officers, yeah. Maybe now is it also helps that
enforcement officers.
It helps that we're way past COVID now, and those people who used to do safe distancing ambassadors and all that, they're very well trained in going around enforcing things, right?
So they need to be deployed, right?
Yeah, they've been redeployed as enforcement officers here, phase 2,
So they're basically general enforcers, lah.
Yeah.
The government has this pool of general enforcers.
Yeah. What do you need to enforce today?
Yeah, okay. You need to enforce.
Today is about enforcing.
It's just a team of enforcers, all just their skill is enforcing, lah.
So I take back everything I say about safe distancing ambassadors not being a transferable skill.
Oh my god, it's fucking
perfect for this.
transferable.
Now we're like, okay, now get out there to the hawker centers and get people to return their trays.
And in fact, this is like next level now, because safe distancing officers from far you can see mask or no mask.
Yeah.
This one you have to gauge when they are going to finish.
Yeah.
And then when they're going to leave. And then you have to keep your eyes on so many things.
Yeah, and I think in the CNA documentary about tray returns, there was this scene where they were analyzing whether someone left a little, those chopstick wrappers tucked in under like a crevice in the table. And then they observed that, actually, no, he has his chopstick wrapper inside his finished bowl. That means that chopstick wrapper was not from him. They have this powers of observation, almost like fucking Cluedo level of observation, that they realize, that guy did not litter. So that's the level of observational skills they need to have as enforcement officers.
Oh my god! So they also have like FAQs some pretty detailed FAQs So start off with an easy one, Terence. Yep. Yes or no? Is it an offense if a diner clears his or her tray and used crockery, but leaves behind tissues or empty drink cans or food remnants such as shells and bones on the dining table? Is it an offense?
Yes, it is.
It is an offense.
Yeah.
It is an offense.
It's like littering, right? It's like leaving your litter on the floor, right?
Yeah. And then what else? Will enforcement action be taken against diners at tsa or steamboat stalls within hawker centers?
That's a tough one.
Because sometimes they have their own area, right?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Terence, time is ticking. You can be an enforcement officer or not?
No.
The littering law applies to all diners, bro.
Oh,
it applies to all.
Okay, all.
Okay?
Got it.
And then what if the enforcement officer requests for a diner's particulars, but he or she does not have them on hand?
They can get the police to get them to do it, right?
Potential. Yeah. But let's say you don't have police anywhere nearby, but you see a phone, they have a phone.
Yeah, or digital NRIC. Easy.
The SingPass app lah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a solution for everything.
Clear everything, yeah.
What if a diner steps away from the table to get a drink with the intention of coming back to return his tray, but enforcement officers accuse him of littering?
I think they will judge the intent based on what the guy says, right?
Basically, the official FAQ is that if they have assessed that the diner has indeed stepped away from the table to get a drink with the intention of coming back to return his tray, the officer will request that the diner clears the used tray before proceeding to buy the drink.
Wow.
Walao,
these enforcement officers are like, they're like that friend at the party that like, they're like, you gotta hold the glasses a certain way when you drink. Those wine connoisseurs and all. Or your nose has to be this angle when you sniff. Hold it up to the light. They're gotta be like super observant and super they follow the protocol kind of people.
Wow, this is crazy, man.
Yeah.
But then online, right? What have you seen the response be?
I haven't trawled online for about this one. But what have you seen?
Basically, there are a bunch of people saying that, like the plight of cleaners and how much they earn and all that, it's not the highest, right? So why are we paying these enforcement officers money that could otherwise go to the cleaners?
Wow. That's another can of worms.
Yeah, man.
Open up. Yeah. Because I think previously, some of the self-justification that people had for not returning their trays was literally like, because I'm keeping these cleaners and giving them jobs. Right. By me not returning my tray, it means that someone needs to clean up after me, which means that these cleaners have a job, which I think is a bit of quite a perverse incentive to get people to not clear their trays, right?
Yeah.
Or to justify why you're not clearing your tray. But this one is next level. Like, why hire enforcement officers when you can pay cleaners more already?
Yeah, because it feels like it's two different things. Because first of all, just because you might have additional funds, do people want to be cleaners? Right? Is there a supply of people who want to be cleaners? I think given how the enforcer role within the government is becoming a highly coveted role, with very transferable skills and a very long roadmap for a career of enforcement. I would imagine there are more people who would rather become enforcement officers than cleaners.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the interesting thing was that it's not that I think what I was mentioning earlier was debunked because most places anecdotally seem to have kept the same number of cleaners, and the cleaners now are deployed to do other things like sorting trash or sorting plates and cups.
But that's just based anecdotally,
Anecdotally, based on like what I saw in the CNA documentary and a couple other short videos about it. So cleaners have been, in some ways, they are being forced to, whether it's focus on certain aspects of the job or pick up new skills, right? Whether it's sanitizing, for example, which became a big thing during COVID, right? So we realize the importance of sanitizing all your surfaces and all that. And I think during COVID, we all saw it. There were, I think, even security officers were going around sanitizing, handles and buttons and things around around all these buildings as well. So their job scopes also changed slightly and evolved with the times. Whether they should be paid more to do so, I think that's a whole separate discussion. But it's not the same pie, right? Where if you pay the enforcement officer, means you pay the cleaner less or anything like that. Yeah. Unless you make the cleaner the enforcer also, right? Where the cleaner
level up.
she has the power to also issue you written warning, ask for NRIC.
Maybe that's what they tell them on their career prospects now.
Yeah.
Here's your roadmap, here's your career progression. You can go from cleaner to enforcer.
Yeah. But different there, because enforcer you have to interact with people a lot.
Yeah.
And gotta, almost you're almost like scolding them, right?
And I can't imagine being a fun role. It's like, whenever if you're eating, you see someone there as an enforcer, you're already not going to like them. They're like the prefect in school.
Yeah.
The prefect. The
prefects.
So, but then, seeing this whole thing unfold, right? It's been like a 3-year thing. There are official press releases and the Clean Singapore SG Clean trade campaign. Does it make you feel a little like, wow, this is too much?
Dystopian society and all.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. As in, but if the trade-off is cleaner eating area and all that, which we have experienced in recent months, right? Then I think it's worth it.
But then, when you went to Korea recently,
yes.
or like Japan, I've heard many good things. I've experienced Japan and how people are a lot more diligent about cleaning up. There's no enforcement there, right?
There's no enforcement, yeah.
But it's part of their culture.
It's part of their culture, but I kind of like hesitate to say that you see it happens in other cultures or other cultures better. Because, for example, you mentioned Korea, right? There are a lot of things about Korean culture I love a lot, but there are also ways that they interact with each other that we don't in Singapore. That are they were very startling to me.
Like what?
The lack of personal space between people, like in crowded situations. They're very open to just jostling and pushing people around when they're in a tight space, and banging to you and not blinking an eyelid and not blinking an eye at all, right? Whereas in Singapore, I think we generally a bit more guarded about our personal space and everything. So yeah, there are trade-offs. Maybe they do clean up after themselves in communal dining areas, but there are other things that they do that would seem very unbecoming of developed nation and civilized society and all that as well. Trade-offs. I think cannot compare overseas one for one.
No, I'm just curious, where does those sort of habits come from, because is this enforcement thing more like a stopgap thing, like to get everyone to change their behavior, like the 91%, you know? Yeah. Once that one, then you can assume it carries on. It transfers from generation to generation.
What do you think? What do you feel about it? Are we becoming too much of a dystopian society where got these uniformed people standing there watching you while you're eating your nasi lemak or whatever, just staring over your shoulder?
Yeah, so not only do you have other diners looking for the table, they come and peer over your shoulder. On the other shoulder, got people peering to see whether you return your fucking tray or not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think that if it is like a short-term thing to get people to change their behavior, I do see some merit in the sense that if you ever have to sit down at a hawker center where there's just all this
grime everywhere, right?
Grime everywhere is also not nice, and I really think the hawker culture should be preserved like a national treasure. So if it can make the experience more pleasurable, I think it's a good thing, but I hope it doesn't carry on for years, it doesn't become a mainstay,
Yeah. The only thing I would say is that in very typical Singapore fashion, it seems like the only solution that we managed to come up with are punishments. How about the incentives to return the tray? Like I think I mentioned before on the podcast, and it got a couple of people on Reddit interested. Was that there was a Chinese restaurant that I went to where if you return your tray, you get a little token which you can exchange at a vending machine for ice cream, a literal like soft serve cone. So it was actually fun because like I saw families with their kids all going to return the tray, everybody fighting to return the tray so that they get the token to get ice cream first. Things like that. And then in Japan, I don't know if they still have it, but years ago I saw that there was a group that organized trash pickup at by the sea and everything, by the oceans, whatever. So they would actually like get sponsorships from banks or whatever and create this really nice looking vests that didn't look like fucking corrective work order, like you're going to prison or something like that. And then they would get them to go and pick trash. But the catch was, I think it was only meant for like young single people. So it's like young single people.
I was just going to say that also.
Coming to pick trash together on a Saturday afternoon, doing good for the world, but also doing good for each other.
Yo, man, if I was single and I wanted to meet people, I would go pick trash.
Yeah, it's a great place to talk. And
fucking go beach. You do good. You get people who also care about like environment or just looking for company,
Yeah,
it's fucking great.
Fucking imagine they just did this every weekend or something like that. Like a whole squad, the single squad of people like go and
at hawker centers and all that.
I'll go hawker centers, return trays
man,
together.
That'd be fucking great.
Yeah, and then like you're maybe for like 15 minutes you're paired with like a different person of the opposite sex.
Must be or same sex.
Same sex,
opposite sex, same sex. Yeah. And then you get like a coupon. Maybe for that day you get like $20 or like or basically you make it a social thing lah.
Yeah. Then
man.
That's I think you can. There was probably still a lot of steps they could have done before they went to straight away $300 fine.
That's true.
Yeah, but we don't. This is the thing. Singapore, we tend to think of very punitive measures for everything rather than how do we encourage that behavior?
Because I'm just so caught up on like whole singles clearing trays thing. Because like clubs, right? It's dark. I fucking hate going to clubs. Right? Because it was like so closed in, loud music. But you do the same at a hawker center. Okay, maybe not music, but you got a lot of live and like moving around, and then you just make it a social thing.
Yeah, and you pull in the people who know a lot about the history of the district, those walking tours kind of thing. So you do a short walking tour before you go and clear trays at the hawker center.
Yeah.
Then after that you go and pick up trash or clear rubbish together somewhere else.
Then you do shifts like every 1 hour. Then the next 30 minutes you can like get a drink, chill out with your fellow hawker mates. Walama.
Yeah, this is
fucking
trash meets bagel.
Yeah. That's a horrible name for fucking dating app, like Terrence. Trash meets bagel.
Trashel. Bumble Trashel, yeah.
Trash meets bagel.
Yeah.
Trash meets bagel. Who the hell will sign up for that, man? Trash meets bagel.
Yeah.
But if they should partner with all these things like experiential, do good.
Yeah. Do together.
Do good.
Another Halima reference.
Walao,
right? Yeah. But I mean, you would have gone lah, right?
I would have gone.
Yeah, I would. Now I think back,
I would totally go.
It check so many boxes, doing good, feeling good, and also hopefully meeting someone good also.
Preserving Singapore, culture, hawker.
You show you care and everything.
Oh, fuck, man. Come on, man. SDU, is it still around Singapore? What?
No, I think it's something else.
Social Development Unit. Oh, it's changed already.
No more already. But yeah, there's so
true.
many ways to do it.
That sounds so much more fun and like incentivizing.
And I think as in Singapore, it's always key to get the businesses involved, get them to sponsor, get them to whatever get them to print, even just like print freaking T-shirts for everyone and all. That matters a lot. Yeah.
I'm surprised there hasn't been any innovation in terms of just equipping the trays with something where you can, register the number of trays you return or something.
Or like AirTags like that.
AirTags, yeah. But I mean RFIDs or something.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like those should have had. I've seen like tray return areas that look like that. I mean, one of the I think the tech companies, every time when we've gone there for like lunches and stuff like that, I always remember that tray return areas are like pretty nifty, like conveyor belts.
Tech companies lah.
Yeah. So
no, because I'm saying like you incentivize every 50 trays you return or something, you get something lah.
Oh, yeah. But actually, yeah, that would incentivize people to return trays more often.
Yeah,
as
because
well.
I mean, people like once you get to a certain age, you start looking out for coupons and savings and all that
exactly.
kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. National Tray
Wow.
Return Challenge. Like they got a National Steps Challenge.
Ask Ruyong, hey, you already 2.4, you made it like a national thing. You do tray return, or do like some tray return games. How many trays can you carry at one time?
Oh yeah.
You know, just have
The
a
Olympics,
competition. Yeah, you close down Old Airport Road for one day.
Tray Olympics.
Make it a fucking festival. Tray Olympics, correct. My God, so many ideas.
So
man.
many ideas, but
so many ideas. Come on, NEA. Come on, SFA.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. I'm just curious, like whether it'll come a time where someone leaves and then their group is still there. Then the enforcement officers go to the group, say, "Can you tell us the name of your friend who just left?"
Oh, and then whether they pauto.
Yeah, whether they pauto. But then technically the enforcement officers would still wait for them to clear it.
Yeah. You need to observe what the final outcome is, right?
Or then you can screw your friends over. Like, let's say 5 of you all finish already. You ask one of them go buy drinks.
You go first.
Yeah, and then everyone leave. Walao.
Wow, that's like the next level of entrapment.
Yeah, man. Cool.
But yeah, speaking of entrapment and all that, right? There is something that happened in Singapore recently that kind of when I first saw it, I really like whoa, and then I sent it to you guys like saying that we have reached peak parody in life, right? It's just such a what the hell, like people that this is actually real. Just shocks me quite a bit, And what is this thing that happened?
It is the news that a migrant worker won 18,888 Singapore dollars at a Squid Game-inspired Singapore company event. And there was a video that was taken at the time of him finding out he won on stage, and he collapses to his knees, breaks out in tears, and bows at the feet of the MD, who I think is the chairman of the group also. So basically, it is heavy lift and transport company, Polisum Engineering. They had their annual dinner and dance last Saturday on 27th May.
Yeah.
So apparently they had a series of Squid Game-inspired matches, which, based on the viral Netflix TV show.
Yeah.
One of the games was like the base of the red light, green light challenge.
Yeah.
And all the attendees wore tracksuit jackets with numbers. Just like how they wore in the show. Yeah. There was, the setup and the props all quite similar. So he won 18,888, and there was a bunch of things that were given to employees. Apparently the company gave out about $100,000 in prizes.
Yeah.
Second place winner scored 8,888. Third place winner was 6,888. And everyone else got like a long service. Those who got long service awards got between 500 and 1,500.
Yeah.
But, okay, when you saw this and you said, art, biggest parody, then I was like, what is it? Why are you saying it's a parody?
In a sense. Okay, ultimately, if you read the article and all, right, like, it's similar to what we were talking about the last time about NS allowance, right? Do we begrudge that these people are getting money? We don't, right? I think the company rightly gave out a big bonus to everyone. I think $100,000 in prizes, and some people walked away. There were long service awards given out, all that. So it was a night of like celebrating and giving out cash rewards to employees, right?
Yeah.
So do I begrudge that they did that to them for the employees? No, it's good that they got money. Maybe my only thing about it was that it was a Squid Game themed competition, right? Because the idea of when you watch Squid Game and all, the whole point is about almost like pervert. They take the idea of inequality in society to the extreme, right? Where the rich and powerful organize games where poor and desperate people risk their lives in order to win a large life-changing amount of money, right? So in some effect, you bring that down to a smaller scale. This is actually is what happening in this case, right? Where a company with a lot of migrant workers who earn less than what a Singaporean median income earner would be earning, participating in Squid Game themed games in order to win a number of tracksuit in order to win a life-changing amount of money. So it's almost like dude, when you watch a show like that, the whole idea of it is to make you think about inequality in society and why it's so bad, and I will not say it's so bad, but why it can be seen, it can become so evil when people take it to its extreme like that, right? Wherever, but this game here like almost like misses the whole point, and they people are wearing tracksuits with numbers on them. They're basically reduced to like participants in the game and everything lah. So it just left a slightly bad taste in my mouth when I saw it.
So that means if it was like a Alice in Wonderland themed event, or like I don't know, like what's a Guardians of the Galaxy themed event,
something else like
and there was a prize money,
some escape room kind of theme and all that kind of thing, then it wouldn't be so bad lah, right? But this one was like, wow, we already like the last 3 years in COVID, inequality and how migrant workers were treated, all these, how migrant workers' plight was during COVID and all that, right? Was such a big talking point. Sure, great that they have a chance to participate to win this money, but it's just in this fashion, I don't know, it just seems like very quite bad form lah. But at the same time, if it gets you this kind of publicity in the press, maybe that's what they were aiming for lah. But you see nothing wrong with what they're doing.
I mean, the more I read about it, I mean, yesterday when you first sent it to me, I'm like, what? This Darren's being woke all. But then when I read up about it, when I saw the pictures, and also, I think what changed it for me was, you know how you said the show essentially is these people who are on the cusp of like life and death in some extent.
Yeah.
Right? They're on the run from cops and they are basically like struggling to survive. So just now when you said a life-changing amount of money, I think for someone who just hears on paper $18,888 in the Singapore context, it's a big amount, but it's not say life-changing.
Yeah.
But for this guy, this worker, apparently that amount is equivalent to 1.5 years of salary.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which means that he's getting like 1,000 plus a month.
Yeah.
But even then, he supports apparently like 17 family members he takes care of back home. And he said with that, he will buy land and build a house for his family.
Yeah.
So you hear, you're like, oh shit, this really feels like a contestant in Squid Game.
Yeah.
Who won.
Yeah.
And bowing at the feet of an Asian old man.
Yeah.
Which if you watch Squid Game...
yeah. That look. I mean, there was literally a Sri Lankan character in the show, right?
Yeah.
Who was in that situation, right? Where he needed the money. I think he was under investigation for murder or assault or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you're like, oh my God. Fuck, man. Like this is a bit weird lah. But yeah, I mean, like if the company is giving out $100,000 to their employees, I mean, good for them. But then I saw some people saying that, is it right that he gets paid 1,000 plus a month? And then the counter argument is that if he can come here, earn a good amount of money back home to support his family, is that wrong?
Yeah, yeah.
And if he's willing to work at that rate, assuming the company does all the due diligence and they're not breaking any laws, is that wrong?
Yeah.
Then it becomes a whole other argument.
Yeah.
But this one, the visuals, they have a picture of like all the employees in their red tracksuits.
Yeah.
With the numbers.
Yeah. It's almost like, like what you said, like if it was like, say like cosplay or Guardians of Galaxy themed where they have to compete in things wearing, different costumes or something like that. Then okay there's some, there's a little bit of individuality involved and people get to choose what they want to dress up as and all that. But this one feels like almost like, oh, okay, to win this amount of money, you got to wear this tracksuit and take a number and be part of this big photo opportunity where we shoot you as like we're organizing a giant Squid Game kind of thing. Then you get a chance to win the money. So the whole thing I think it's just the optics of it really, I don't, again, I say it's great that the company is giving out money to the employees. How they distribute it, of course, is their prerogative. But that's where I feel like, okay, maybe they could have chosen anything else other than Squid Game, Mission Impossible, Top Gun team, or anything else. There's a lot of other things that they could have chosen, but maybe something other than Squid Game, given what the theme is and all. Right.
And I mean, Squid Game came out like a year and a half ago also. So it just felt like, how long has this been in the works, man?
Yeah.
But how long has it been?
But it's true, Squid Game was iconic, right? Maybe, I mean, even if it was packaged as like a singles inferno thing or something, then it feels a little bit more okay lah. It's like, okay,
I know you're thinking
interesting.
Indian matchmaking lah,
Oh,
right?
no, I never thought that. Yeah, never crossed my mind. But yeah, there are other franchises and all that of TV shows that could have formed the basis of this theme lah, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's a bit surreal lah. It's a bit surreal watching that.
Yeah, and it sounds like it was planned for by a PR company, right? I think a PR company was helping to organize this event because it does seem like there's a lot that went into publicizing it as well. So yeah, strange, man.
So apparently every employee walked home with at least $188.
Yeah, so this is grow PR. So it's like I mean, I've seen dinner and dances, corporate dinner and dances where people have prize ceremonies and all that and they win things right?
Do you ever have to organize?
I've had to organize a corporate event, where there are like prizes and stuff like that as well. So not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's just when the final prize being money also, right? Like straight out there's money and a cash bouquet of $18,888 and everyone having to wear tracksuits and participate in the competition. That's I mean everything just adds up to just feel like, what is this reality, or is it a parody Yeah.
Yeah, 18. Because last time I remember I was president of the fucking D&D committee back and yeah, the prizes, I think it was generally don't just give money, just give something more like a trip or something like that.
Yeah. But why? Actually, why don't give money?
I think because money, it feels okay. Like let's say your birthday. I mean, if you ask me birthday, people want to give me money or give me a gift. Depending on how well they know me.
Yeah.
A gift is nice, but money isn't bad. Money isn't bad either. Yeah. But it just feels very transactional.
Feels very transactional.
Yeah, feels very transactional.
And I've been told before by friends, like these Tauke kind of friends, right, who run these family businesses, all that. Giving money doesn't always cut it. Like sometimes, like for a lot of their long-serving employees, it's more important that they get like those, like long service award, the watch, the custom long service award watch with the name engraved in it. They say that means so much more to them than getting, whatever amount it is, $1,000, $500 or what. It's just, because money it's so, like you said, it's so transactional and doesn't mean anything, has no sentimental value.
Yeah.
But these items like really do, right? So, yeah, I don't know if they could have bought anything else for $18,888 that would have mattered to Mr. Selvum, but maybe in that sense, I think you can still give money. It's just maybe find some other theme other than Squid Game, really.
Maybe we talk to Mr. Selvum. He'll be like, both of you shut up. Okay? This is gonna get me a house for my family. Screw the whole transactional. It doesn't feel sentimental. Fuck sentimentality.
What have you all done for us? What have you all done for us lately?
Yeah. So I mean, some people are also pointing out that there are probably some companies out there that don't even invite the migrant workers who work for them to do D&D.
Yeah.
So I mean, this company, kudos to them that they can give out like $100,000 worth of gifts. Clearly, they had a decent year.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, it was just surreal. Surreal.
It was quite
surreal, if anything.
Yeah. Just another theme or something really. Stranger Things or whatever There's a lot of things they could do.
Yeah. I think now Squid Game, if you ever want to do an event about Squid Game, because there was some other thing, was
Mr.
it
Beast,
Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
Mr. Beast.
He did real life Squid Game and all that.
Yeah, he did real life Squid Game.
Yeah.
Correct.
So again, maybe don't do Squid Game because it's not very original also really right?
Yeah. But this one, they probably started planning start of 2022 for this event.
I'm guessing so.
Then they're like, oh, the hot topic is Squid Game, so let's plan for it.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
exciting. Man. Let us know what you think. Are we being like are we having a rod stuck up our behinds about this issue, or should we just take a chill pill about it
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
But that said, shall we talk about what's your one Shiok comment of the week?
Yeah. My one Shiok comment is basically a comment. I mean, a thread started by Mofster Boy, long-time Redditor. Basically, just building off something we talked about in the previous podcast about if everyone should ask themselves, what is one thing they have done at least 400 times in their life? I think the question sometimes is not as straightforward as you think. Like what they put down was can't confirm, but maybe I've eaten at max 400 times.
Yeah. And that made me, I saw that last night, and it actually made me do some mental calculations about
Max it.
how many times I've probably been to Max in my
And
life.
how many?
I'm guessing when you're younger, maybe like once every 2 or 3 weeks. So within a year, you would probably go like 15 to 25 times at least, right? I don't know, maybe more than that, 20 to 30 times, right? So let's just assume your youth is, 20 years or something. So 20 times of that, and then that's like over like 500-600 times already.
Yeah.
So within your first 20 years, probably at least 500-600 times. Before you turn 30 or whatever, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, interesting, like whenever you break it down like that, like even there was that one viral post I think was my one Shiok Thing at some point called The Tail End, which was written by Wade But Why, a solid blog who takes very complicated topics and reframes them. So The Tail End is about, if you were to actually calculate, let's say you're living away from your parents, you see them once a week, every weekend, average life expectancy, how many weekends you have with your parents by the time you're 30 plus, right? You are at the tail end of that already.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things that every time you think about something like,
Yeah, but that one is very US centric when
you move out
when people in the US, it's very common that people move out at 18
and see once every few months.
Even when they're 30 or 40, they see their parents once a year, maybe Thanksgiving. Singapore, some people 40 years old still living with their parents. They still see them every day, and then
you'll never go to your parents for the holidays because you just every weekend you go and see them.
Every weekend, maybe even more. So they're like, fuck you tail end.
But even then, if you move out, let's say you see your parents for a weekend dinner, every year you see 50 times.
Yeah.
Let's say they are 70. Their life expectancy in Singapore is like 82, 83, 10 more years. That's 500 more times. Which is still a very sobering. No, it's a sobering thought.
It's the number of times that you've gone to McDonald's before you turn 30.
Yeah. Or like if you think like what else, the number of times, don't know, just it's just an interesting thought experiment.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, man. But what about you, man?
My one short comment is from YouTube. I think a lot more people commenting on YouTube now that we're there and active. Hokkien Me says, great content as usual, and it's more enjoyable now with the video. Perhaps it's time to have a small intro music jingle to announce the start of an episode. It'll be interesting to see what you guys can come up with. Then I'm thinking, I thought we have
jingle.
We kind of have that jingle in the Yala Baba.
That's not jingly enough lah.
Oh, not jingly enough. Like he wants us to sing or something, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, or maybe just a bit longer. Or you know how some podcasts they do a cold open, like they take a highlight first.
Yes.
And then there's like a jingle.
Correct.
Whereas we just like fucking dive in and dive out.
Oh, interesting.
Why do you think they want that?
Like you say, maybe it's to like taking the best part, or at least like an interesting snippet of every episode. So you kind of know what you're getting into, right? You kind of know what is coming up, yeah. Whereas at the start of every episode, it's a lot of times you spend the first 5 minutes just talking about the weather or how's your week been. Very unusual for podcasts.
Can we just have a jingle? I don't care whether it was raining at your place in the morning or not. Just give me the damn jingle.
Because this is YouTube, remember? This is YouTube, like, hey guys, what's up? And then 3 minutes later, video is done. Yeah, this is what.
But YouTube now different lah.
It's all different. But I think people's consumption patterns maybe on YouTube are different from like regular podcasts lah.
Yeah, because it's that much easier to scroll. You always got like right hand column of more of appealing videos.
Exactly. Whereas when you listen to us on audio, a lot of times you're like, I'm literally like starting my car and everything, and then I press play on the podcast and just let it play for a bit in the background. Once I'm driving, then I'm like in the zone.
That's why I'm curious. Like for people who've been long time listeners, is there anything about video that you feel makes the podcast different, for better or not so better? Not so better, because I think like last time the nice thing was like it's still in our house. It almost felt like as raw as it can get. Whereas now we come to office, we have the camera set up. I don't think it has changed anything with regards to the dynamic. I'm wondering whether people listening, right, like the 9 people who have listened to all 400 episodes, whether you can be like, there's a difference. Hopefully it's a good difference lah.
Yeah, hopefully.
Cool, man. Yes. All right.
And your one Shiok thing.
The one Shiok Thing is a website I came across that's just one of those fun website's called You're Getting Old. So YOU.RE gettingold.com. So basically, what you do, you just key in your date of birth.
Yeah.
And it would tell you what has happened since the time you were born till now, just high level stuff. So like let's say I key in your date of birth.
Yep.
I put go. So it's just it's same thing. You just key in. So Terrence, you are 14,782 days old. Your heart has beaten approximately 1.478 billion times.
Wow.
When you were born, there were 4.689 million people. Now there are 7.891 billion people. Yeah, billion people. So the distance that you have traveled around the center of the Earth as it rotates is 450 million kilometers.
Wow.
So they just have these kind of things and they tell you like let's see, on 5th Jan 2024 you'll be 15,000 days old. Yeah, and then like over the 100,000 people born on the same day as you, approximately 95,600 people are still living.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's just pointless info, but just fun.
Pointless fun info.
Pointless fun, yes.
It's So any interesting facts about yourself that you learned about being born on the day you were born?
Let me put it in right now. 84 go. Okay, so I'm 14,380 days old. If I were to do a birthday cake with all the candles I've ever used on every birthday cake I did or did not have, it'll be 780 candles. The moon has orbited Earth 526 times since I was born. I will be 15,000 days old on 11th February 2025. Yeah, so just a fun, pointless website.
It's a lot of that is math as well.
Yeah. It's all. Then they also have like as an infant some of the big things that happen. So like 7 June 1984, the year I was born, the first Ghostbusters was released.
Oh.
As a teenager, 15 Jan 2001, Wikipedia is launched. So they just have like all these little fun facts.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. Cool.
You're becoming old, is it?
You're getting old.
You're getting old.
Yeah.
.com. Nice.
What about you, man?
Mine was a video between two kind of conservative, I wouldn't say right wing, but religious commentators and all that. This was about a month ago lah. It's Dennis Prager and another I can't remember his name. Dennis Prager and another talk show host. It's a heated debate on pornography with Dennis Prager of PragerU. You've heard of PragerU, right? Like it's a conservative right wing, a bit more YouTube channel that talks tries to take a more academic approach to a lot of these issues, right? Prager. But yeah, it's heated debate on pornography and Dennis Prager. So is these two people? One, I believe he's Catholic, and the other guy is Jewish. And they identify as conservative and religious as well. And they just had a very interesting viral debate, a 48-minute debate about pornography and what it means for the world today right. And I know you've had thoughts about this or that, like, so they asked a lot of questions about, is it okay for a husband to view pornography even if he's still in a loving, relationship with his wife.
You say I've had thoughts about this?
We discussed these kind of things before, right? Yeah. It's just that theoretically, like, is pornography evil, right? Like, okay, if let's, and we've talked about this, where if a known pedophile says, "Oh, I watch anime child porn," for example,
is that wrong?
But that stops me from going out there and doing things to children and all. Does that mean that the porn is evil or what, right? Is it still a sin? So it's a lot of interesting points coming from these two middle-aged white guys, or like talking about
So one for, one against.
No, I think they have, even between them, they have quite it's a debate because they have quite different views about pornography. I believe Dennis Prager thinks that when he says pornography, he's thinking of, like, because he's a really old guy, he's thinking of like Playboy photo spreads, things like that. So to him, it's like
not like modern day porn,
no.
is it?
He says that my father used to subscribe to Playboy, but he loved my mother all the way to the end. And then the other guy's like, no, like pornography is evil, and then like masturbation is akin to murder, and things like that, lah.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very heated debate, and quite interesting even for non-conservatives or what to listen to.
So it's Dennis Prager and who?
Oh yeah, the YouTube channel is called Pints with Aquinas.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pints with Aquinas.
Yeah. So it's a long-form discussion, debates, and teachings on the Catholic faith. Yeah, so he's Catholic.
Pints. Oh, Pints with Aquinas.
And I think, then he speaks to Dennis Prager, and this went quite viral, and then, like Ben Shapiro and all did response videos to it and all. Because, the concept of pornography in a relationship and all that. So it's quite funny because they really go into like, they really throw scenarios at each other. Like, what if your wife tells you, hey, your legs really turned me on. Does that mean she's objectifying you? And then he's like, and then the other guy's like, what is it? Is lust different from sexual desire? Like if you have sexual desire for your wife, does that mean you lust after her? And so they really go into the weeds about this, and I don't know, it's funny but pretty horrific to watch at the same time.
Shit.
So do listen to it, and it's
apparently there was a quote: what we once called hardcore, we now call softcore. What we once called softcore, we now call Netflix. Is it that?
So you really see this conservative views on porn and why they're so angry with porn and everything lah. So it's pretty it's an interesting listen. I don't know. Somehow it got fed to me, and
you watched all 48 minutes of it.
I listened to it like a podcast.
Oh, you listened to it like a podcast.
It was quite interesting just to listen to it.
Oh, nice. Wow, power. Okay.
Cool,
man.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll be back soon.
Yeah, next week, right, with So Ryong
on
the podcast.
Sweet. Okay.